chiefs came to the door. I said, "Oh, hello, come in. We're having a meeting upstairs." So I went up the stairs and looked okay, look and make sure you got the exit there, things are going to happen, And so I sat down they said, sit down, we're having a meeting. Sat down on the chair and they started working on me. Just a few people there. And then I started feeling this energy flowing in my hands. I thought, wow. I said, yeah, that's it. And then what happened is they started explaining to me what my catches were. They said, "Oh, you're catching on Agia. You've been doing lots of reading." I said, "Yeah." I said, "Wow, these people are really good." they tell what's happening. And I said, "Yeah, I've been doing lots of reading." And then they said, "Oh, there's a problem with your mother. What happened is I left home, and I wasn't being in contact with my family, but more what I discovered afterwards is that that your parents are inside you, and because my mum was worrying about me, I was actually feeling the physical pain. It was actually a pain like someone had whacked me. I thought it was maybe down to work because of the plaster, but they said no, it's to do with your mother." So I thought, oh God, I better ring her up and go and see her and tell her I'm fine, because I was concentrating. Right, I'm going to find this thing. So they explained that to me, and then they said a few more things, and I thought, wow, that's it. But then I said to myself, oh my God, if I tell anyone, they're going to say I'm completely mad. So I got up out of the chair, said thank you very much, and then they said, oh, we have it every week, you come back and see us. I said, and I ran all the way home, and it was a steep hill, and they said, I ran all the way home. I said, I found it, that's it. So I thought I found it now. And then when I went back to see my family, and I said, what, I can go back to work now because I found it. So people were saying to me, oh, there's something different about you. I said, what do you mean? They said, yeah, there's some change in you, tell us what it is. I thought, no, if I say anything to people, they're going to start asking me lots of questions about it. So I said, no, it's nothing. No. They said, no, there's something about you. We noticed there's some change in you. I said, yeah, when I find out a bit more, I'll let you know. So in those days, they didn't used to answer many questions. Afterwards, I discovered that I was asking lots of questions which they couldn't answer. So I kept saying to them lots of questions, and they said, okay, take this tape, listen to that. So I would come back and say, look, I listened to that now. Have you got any more? And kept asking them lots of questions. They said, we don't know. I said, who knows? They said, Shri Mataji. I said, when can I see her? They said, you can't see her. I said, what do you mean? Is this a cult or what? What's going on? Why can't I see this lady? And they said, do you want to see her? I said, yes. They said, oh, okay. We go and see her every Monday. I said, oh, would you like to come? I said, of course I want to come. I'm asking you all these questions you can't answer. So they said, okay, be here at such and such. There's a minibus. I jump in the minibus, go down to London, see Shri Mataji at Caxton. Oh, I thought, wow, yeah. She is, there's something special about her. I could feel vibrations. I said, well, I know it's something. And then after a few more weeks, they said, there's a ceremony we have. It's called a puja. And this one was the Sahasrara Puja. This was the 5th of May in 1981. So they said to me, would you like to come? I said, yeah, of course. I'd like to come along. So they said, turn up here. We've got a minibus. We come down in a minibus with us. And I said, great, So they didn't explain to me about anything about it, what you could wear or anything like that. So I got my flask, my packed lunch, a bag, It'll be a long day, they said. So I turned up at Chelsham Road, sit down in the room, and it was packed. There were loads of people there. And Shri Mataji's chair was there where it normally is, and I was sitting back. And then she gave a speech, and then she said, all those people who are here for the first time, who come from a country which is not from England, can ask for a boon for their country. So I thought, wow, I understood what that word meant. You can ask for 3 wishes. So I thought, great. So I thought, what can I ask for now? I said, okay. For at the time, the Rastafarian movement was growing big, and so I said, well, but I knew that it wasn't good, because you know, I met people who were growing up in my community who were doing it, and they were smoking stuff and going off their head and all that. So this needs to die down. That was one. Second one, I said, they keep telling me that this marijuana is a holy herb, something to do with King David, something. I said, this needs to be neutralized. So I said, Shri Mataji, you know, for this thing. And then the third one, she said, I'll tell you what to say. Okay. So she said, you should ask that the Pentecostal movement subsides. At the time, they were having busloads of people come, coaches going down from Bristol to London, Billy Graham, it was all people coming back like zombies, you know. So she said, you should say that this needs to be stopped. So that was the third boon, so I said that. And so that was good. So I'm sitting there, and then at the time, Gregoire was translating what I was saying to Shri Mataji, whether it was because it was a Jamaican accent or deep Bristolian, I don't know. But when I was speaking, then Gregoire was translating what it actually meant to Shri Mataji. So I sat back down, and so I'm sitting there with my hands out meditating, and then all of a sudden, they gave at the end of the puja lots of presents to Shri Mataji. So she took the wrapping off, and either side of her was, you see those things with the wicks on, with the flame. So she took, looking at her, on her left-hand side, she would undo the wrapping and put it down. And all of a sudden, the wrapping paper caught on fire and started going up to the ceiling. And everyone was in the room and nobody was moving. And I was thinking, what's happening? Why is there nobody moving? You know, this lady's going to catch on fire. When paper from wrapping paper burns, it's so fast. So I thought, oh my God. So I jumped up in the air, and I had a really nice brown jacket, you know, suede, corduroy jacket, dark brown. So I jumped up in the air, ran over, ripped it off from my back like that, and just ran over and damped down the flames, and then put the fire out, and then sat back down. And in that time, it was like time stood still. Nobody moved, nobody said nothing, nobody was moving. And I was thinking, well, what's happening with these people? Is there nobody, you know, I just sat back down. Even up to now, all these years later, no one's ever asked me about it. At the time, nobody said, what were you doing? Nothing. So I was thinking, you know, this is...
I was there.
I just sat back down. Okay.
Thank God I wasn't.
Oh yeah, this is Linda's house. I think it was all over in about 2 seconds. I don't know. Upstairs, you were somewhere else. So I just sat back down, and then I was thinking, wow, you know, these people they're slightly different. You know? I'll stick on with it, you know. And then so that was my first. That was happened within 2 months, and that was my sort of interaction.
Can we come back to you from what That's great. Thank you for that. We'll have to ask Reg also exactly what were you thinking when you watched him go.